guys, this is going to be part one of Sinistar. That's all I really want to do tonight is cut a new piece of metal for the control panel and drill out the holes that are supposed to be here. Obviously the ones that are not supposed to be here, we will not be drilling. So this one, this one, this one, there's a big one in the middle here, and then these three over here are what we need to drill in, and then we have to drill in some screw holes for the screws that hold this panel in. I think this is stainless steel by the looks of it. I just went up to Lowe's. They didn't have any stainless steel or aluminum, so I just grabbed a piece of regular sheet metal, and what I'll do is I will just paint it black after I'm done doing all my cutting and drilling and everything, and it'll be just fine. It's not going to hurt anything long as you protect it and coat it with paint. It's not going to rust on you. But by the weight of this is definitely stainless steel, because it's about the same weight as the regular steel, maybe even a hair heavier. But it's 16 gauge, and I have the same thickness sheet metal, 16 gauge. So all I want to do first is cut this out. I want to get this to the size that I need it to be. Now, as you can see, my marker is actually a little wider than it needs to be, so I'm going to move this in a little bit like that, and I'll retrace. Nope, you got to go a little more. Right about there, I think. We'll get this drawn out. We'll cut it, and then we will see if it ends up being the exact same size, which it should. By the looks of it, I need to cut the whole blue line off. So let me grab my grinder here. I have a metal cutting wheel on here. It's actually a metal wheel for cutting metal. I don't know if that one's any good anymore. If not, I might just switch to a fiber disc, but we'll try it and see if it's good still. There's my first cut. I'm gonna go grab my hoodie because these sparks are burning my arm. I'm gonna go put my hoodie on, and then I'm gonna come back and cut the long cut. Okay, as you see, when I cut this one, I scored it first to get a straight line, and then I cut through it. We'll do the same thing with this long one. Now there's a bunch of burrs on the edge of this. We'll have to grind those off afterwards. Let me go grab another disc. That one's pretty shot. Okay, this is just a normal fiber disc. Okay, now I'm gonna grind these edges down with my little 2-inch grinding wheel. All right, perfect. So now we have a nice replica size of that. Now I'm gonna eyeball these holes that I need to drill, the centers of them. My drill bit I have is a little bit smaller than these holes, so I might have to come back with a little grinding wheel and grind the holes a hair bigger because I don't have that size drill bit. So that's why I'm eyeballing these, because if I'm a hair off, I'll just fix it with the grinder. Let me go grab the bit. Okay, here's the drill bit. It's an 1 1/8" metal drill bit for cutting metal. It's gonna take a little bit of time to get through this because it's 16 gauge metal. It's a little hard. Get my bit in here. I think this countersinking, this bit in the middle is getting a little dull. I'm going to use a regular drill bit and pre-drill those. Okay, let's try this now. Now what I find is if you drill halfway through, flip it over and drill the other half. Every once in a while it'll get it stuck. But as you can see, it doesn't take very long. I'm gonna have to find a leaf switch button here in a few so that we can see how much bigger we need to make them. I think if we put this over top, we'll be able to see that it's very, very minute. Let's hold it up to the wood. Now, technically, I wouldn't have to fill in these other holes if I don't want to. I'll just probably get some dowel rod and fill them in, because this new metal control panel, in all reality, is going to cover up those other holes. But I want to do it right, and I need to grind this down a little bit more. It's a little bit off, but I want to do it right, so I am going to fill them in. But you can see we have our 6 holes just about where they need to be. So I need to grab, you know what, I'm gonna go get a couple leaf switch buttons that are old ones. I'll get 6 of them, because what we could do is we could put them in these holes, a couple of them, so that we can get this panel exactly where we want it lined up. And then what I can do is we'll take it back off after that, and we got to drill these 8 holes. 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 10 holes around the perimeter, or 9. I can't tell. I think all these ones around the perimeter are factory, but I can't tell. They look factory to me, so I'm gonna say yes. Yeah, so we're gonna drill all those. There's not one right here because of the joystick, and luckily the original mount is here for the original joystick, so I need to get this piece out of here, and we have to figure out what size hole we have to drill into this plate for the joystick. So I'm gonna have to go grab the joystick and some leaf switch buttons. Okay, I got some junk buttons and the joystick. So I want to see how these buttons fit through these holes, and they're actually really close. They'll actually fit if these leaf switch buttons have little nubs on them, usually little tiny nubs on 2 of the sides. But you know what, I'm not really that concerned with them. You can take a little knife and just literally, they come right off. That's just going to make my life a lot easier, rather than trying to get these holes a hair bigger so that they fit. So they pretty much fit in there perfectly. So what I want to do is line these up and see how close I am with where these go, and it's not looking too bad. I'm a little off on this hole. There's a little bit of wood showing there, just a little bit, so that might affect that one. I might have to notch that wood just a tiny bit, but we're talking less than 1/16 of an inch, so that's not too big a deal. We're a little high on this side, so I might have to mess with it a little bit. There's going to be a little bit of messing with it to get it perfect, but we will get it. Okay, so what I want to do is let's get this this piece of fiberglass or whatever they put in there out of there, so that we can reveal the joystick hole and figure out what size hole we need to drill. I'm gonna have to get a saw. All right, I might have to change this blade. It might be dull. And then I have this tool here, and it's got a little grinding wheel on it, and it spins. It's a die grinder, and we'll use that to open up any little bit of holes that we need to. But let me see if this saw blade is still good. If not, I'll have to change it. But we're only cutting through body filler, so maybe we'll get lucky. I need to try to be kind of careful about this. Let me cut it through the middle first. It's fiberglass matte stuff, the same stuff I use. I can smell it. Now let me see if I can bust this off. Got one side. Okay, got that out of there. Let's just see if the joystick fits in there correctly or not. Now this is a joystick for arch rivals. Same joystick as Sinistar, except for Sinistar has a red ball, and I think Sinistar does not have this little collar at the bottom of the ball here. But you know what, if I can't end up finding a red one, which I don't think I'm going to, we're going to paint this ball. We're going to sand this down really good. We are going to paint it red, and we are going to automotive clear coat it with a high solids clear, which will be a very hard finish when it's dry, and it'll last for years without any problems. So let's see if everything lines up. The holes line up to there perfectly, so we are good there. So now we need to get this size hole made into that plate. But first, I need to make sure that plate is sitting in the right location of the control panel. So what I want to do first is I'm going to take these buttons out. I'm not too worried about these buttons. They're shot. I mean, they're pretty much unsalvageable. They're so old. But I want to get this lined up correctly. Right here, I got in my cut right here, I have a little bit of a belly right here. So I need to grind this straight. So that's the first thing I want to do. So I'm actually going to take this off, and we're going to put that one on, and we're going to grind that straight and see if we can't get it to line up where we want it to line up. We should sorry about that. We should probably, maybe what we'll do is, after we get this to fit flush here and flush up here, maybe what we'll do is we will drill the screw holes. We'll screw this plate to this panel, then take my tool here and we'll do a little bit of routing out around those holes wherever we need to. So let me grind on this for a little bit here. Kind of look at it as I'm grinding it and straighten it out. And yes, I have my safety glasses on. We are close. This side's just hanging over a tiny, tiny bit. And it looks like we just need to clean up this area right in here. understand what their theory was in putting this on there. I mean, did it really help out that much? I think that's pretty darn good there. So let's mark, oops, let's mark the holes for all these holes we need to drill for the panel to screw in. And we'll have to find some screws that we can put in there for now. I think I got something out here we can use. All my screws and stuff are in the basement. So I'm just gonna put a dot in the dead center here. These holes they drilled, they're pretty big. You know what? I'm gonna go get a couple clamps. Let's just clamp the two pieces of metal together in the right spot and we'll just drill right through. Okay, before I drill, let's figure out what size drill bit we need by holding this panel up. Grab my bits. And I lost a bit already, which isn't good. I don't know where I put that. Oh, it's in my drill. Okay. That's a little sloppy, which that was 1/4 inch. And of course 5/16 is too big. So 5/16 is good for the taper. There's a little taper on these holes so that the screw recesses flush with the panel. So I'm gonna drill 1/4 inch and then 5/16 for the recess for the head of the screw. So it's just going to be like a flat machine screw type screw that we're going to use, or like a flat wood screw rather. So I'm going to put this 1/4 inch bit in my drill, and we are going to clamp these two together in the right spot. Just like that. And of course I had to hit it with the clamp, which screwed it up. All this stuff anybody can do at their house. It doesn't take fancy tools or a lot of tools or a lot of fancy tools. You can go up to Harbor Freight and get everything you need to do this. I'm actually going to put this clamp on this side so that the weight of the two clamps keep the panel flat. So if I put them both on this side, it's going to want to teeter this way. So now I'm going to drill these holes out. This bit might be shot. These bits are kind of old. Let me move the camera over here. Let's see what we can do. Trying to look at the panel here to see exactly how many holes. Okay, there's 5 on the top, 4 on the bottom. So there's one, there's another one here. Another one here. Try not to bend the metal. Two left. If you see me tilting the drill a little bit, that's because I went off center a little bit, so I'm just trying to work it back over. Okay, those are all drilled. Goes this way. Now I'm going to take my 5/16 drill bit and we are going to make a recess in the center, in those holes. About half the thickness of the sheet metal. Just like this. See how that is? Versus that. Oh shoot, that one went all the way through. That's not, we'll make it work. That bit got a little carried away there. It kind of grabbed and just went right through. Now, when I put this panel permanently onto the wooden one before I put the overlay on, if these screws are hanging up a little bit or anything like that, I could just take my grinder and grind them down. It won't be a big deal. But I am going to take my grinder now and smooth out these burrs from drilling them. Okay, so now we got that done. I'm gonna have to go see if I have a hole saw that's that size. I think I need to grind a little bit more off of this center right here, this center part. So I'm going to grind this down a little bit and I'm going to go look and see if I have a hole saw that size. Okay, I put some screws into the metal plate, into the wooden control panel. This one is actually hitting, just barely making it, the one I drilled through all the way by accident. Now I easily could have edited that out in the video, But you know what? I would rather you guys see me make mistakes so that you guys know it's okay to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. That was just a fluke thing. You know, the drill bit caught, went right through the metal. Nothing you can do about it. It happens. It happens to everybody. Don't stress out about it. It's not a big deal. We'll make it work, you know. It looks like the hole saw is going to be 1 3/4 inches. This is the only one I currently have right now here, and it's pretty worn out. But we are going to give it a shot. We are going to see if we can't get that drilled into there. We're going to go pretty slowly with it. Just try to go slow and get it in there. And then if it's a little bit small or whatever, we can always open it up a little bit. But once we get this drilled, we have those screws holding the panel into place. We can easily get the holes for all the buttons to fit good. And then at that point, we'll be done with this video. Then the next video, we're going to get all these other holes that do not need to be here filled in with wooden dowels. We're going to glue them in. We're going to grind them down and put some fiberglass and all that good stuff on it just to smooth everything out. And then I'm not sure if I'm gonna, I might, you know, when I mount this panel, metal panel to the control panel, I might do a little bit of body work just to smooth out the seam and everything, because I don't want it to show through in the future. I'd rather not see that metal line in the control panel, but we'll address that when the time comes. I'm not sure if I'm going to mess with it or not, but we'll see. So let me try to eyeball this here. I want to at least get it scored a little bit on the backside here. That drill bit's just wanting to grab real hard. Okay, to me, that's a little small, which is fine. We'll open it up with my grinder. Let's see here, actually, that's not too bad. A little bit on the edge. So let me get the grinder hooked up here. And let's see what we can do here. Looks round. Let's see if she fits. I'm pretty happy with that. Make sure. Maybe I'll take a hair out right here, hair out up here. It's okay if it's a hair bigger than the joystick. It's not going to hurt anything. It seems like I'm really grinding this a lot, but I'm not. This takes off very small amounts of metal at a time. This is a very fine grit grinding wheel. Just want to make sure that my joystick mounting holes line up. Looks like I am off a tiny bit. Looks like I need to take a tiny bit more off this top edge, right up here. So close. Just a hair more. Just what I'm doing is I'm making sure that the holes in this plate line up in the center of the holes in these mounts for the bolts to go through. And that looks good there. Okay, we are good with the joystick now. So now the only last thing I want to do is the button holes. Let's see if we can get these buttons to slide in there. They actually look, this to me is like the only one that looks like it's kind of off. Looks, there's a little bit of wood showing right there. The rest of these, they're pretty darn on. I think I'm going to take my wheel and grind this one a little bit down. I'll probably have to open up this bottom hole a little bit as well. Just like that. I'm going around all of them, all the way around. I don't want to have this thing completely body worked, the metal painted, the control panel overlay on it, and then find out that my buttons don't fit because I'm a hair off. So I'd rather just go through them all now, make sure everything fits perfectly, because once you put that overlay on there, you start running this thing on there, it's going to start melting and making that overlay bubble up around the edges. I'm just going to take one of these old buttons that I cut those nubs off of, and we're going to see how they fit. Perfect. Fit there. Perfect. That's 2. Perfect. Awesome. They all fit. So that is going to wrap up this video. We have the metal plate made. Next, we are going to, like I said, take the metal plate off. We are going to get all the extra holes filled in, like I said before, Probably don't really need to do it, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm just gonna get them filled in, just make it look a little nicer. Now, when I fill in, like this hole, for instance, you see where my finger's coming through here? When I glue a dowel rod in here, we're gonna have to come back with that grinder and grind this out right here, because it's gonna be sticking into this hole area. So we'll just have to do what I just did, re-grind them out just to clean them up. So, all right, guys, that's gonna end this video. Just a quick video. Wanted to get the first step of Sinistar started, because the cabinet is in such good shape. This is basically the hardest part of this restore, is bringing this control panel back to the way it should be. Now, I found the original looking buttons. I ordered them from, I think, Arcade Adventures or something like that. They had a 6-piece button set. I think it was like 20 bucks. But I ordered them. They'll be here on Saturday. So we'll have the buttons for it. We have the joystick. Like I said, more than likely we're going to be painting that orange joystick. But you know what? It's a 49-way joystick. It's going to work just fine. So, all right, guys, if you're liking what you're seeing, please like, subscribe. Any questions or comments, feel free to send them. Other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow.